OK, back to our breaking news this hour. Russia's ambassador to Turkey has been seriously wounded in a gun attack in Ankara, according to media reports. These are the latest pictures that we're getting from the scene. Andrei Karlov was shot at a photo exhibition. He's been now taken to hospital. Not clear entirely what his condition is, and there are reports of more gunfire at the site of the attack. Let's go to Andrew Hopkins, who's in Ankara and joins me on the phone now. So, Andrew, what do we know about the wounding of the Russian ambassador?
Yes, Julie, there's not a lot of information coming in at the moment, but what we do know is that the reports the man who shot him was a Turkish-speaking person. This actually happened in an area where there are a lot of embassies. It happened quite close to the US embassy, Australian embassy, very sort of cultural district of Ankara. We know that the gunman is still apparently at the scene, and the police are there still trying to capture him. The operation is ongoing. And as you mentioned, there have been some shootings of other people as well. We understand there are more wounded people from this particular incident who have been taken to hospital as well.
And just to put it into context for us, Andrew, there have been quite a few protests in Turkey recently outside the Russian embassy about Russia's role in Syria.
Yeah, that's right. We were there a few days ago where there were about 300 people protesting outside the embassy. They were calling for Russia to get out of Syria, really, for its sort of joining on the same side as the Syrian regime in the war. But you know, recently there's been this sort of rapprochement between Turkey and Russia over how to deal with the fighting there, and it's difficult to say who's behind it at the moment, but it seems very politically motivated, and maybe somebody trying to make a statement about the current dealings between Turkey and Russia.
And how long had the Russian ambassador been in Turkey? Because Turkey and Russia have only recently mended ties after the shooting down of that Russian jet near the Syrian border.
That's right, yeah. They fell out over a year ago, really, over the shooting down of the plane, and only managed to patch up their differences over the summer. So it's just only a few months since they really got their relations back on track. But they seem to have been sort of getting on a bit better recently. The Russians have allowed tourists to return to Turkey, and various sort of trade embargoes have been lifted. So it did seem that relations between Turkey and Russia were getting not quite back to normal because they're on the different side of the Syrian war, but at least showing some kind of improvement. So this particular shooting does seem to be potentially causing some more problems between the two sides.
So just to recap, your information is that there is just one shooter, or do we not know for sure?
As far as we understand it at the moment, it's just one shooter at the moment, yes. And it's, according to reports, a Turkish-speaking shooter.
Right, and this happened at a photo exhibition. Apparently the Russian ambassador was due to address that gathering, or was addressing that gathering?
I don't have that information at the moment, but as I mentioned, it's in an area where there are a lot of embassies, a very sort of diplomatic, cultural area of Ankara, and a number of other embassies nearby, such as the US and Australian embassies, and you would expect this area maybe to be a bit more secure than other parts of Ankara, if you like.
Indeed. And just one last question, Andrew, because I know you're still trying to get the information, because this happened very, very recently. Has there been any reaction from security forces?
No, not as we know yet. We just know that the police and security forces are actually seen still trying to capture the person responsible for the shooting. But as to the current state of that operation, we don't have any more information at the moment.
OK, Andrew, for the moment, thank you very much indeed for that. So just to remind our viewers, our breaking story this hour, the Russian ambassador to Turkey, Andrei Karlov, has been shot, we're being told, shot multiple times at an exhibition in Ankara, Turkey's capital, on Monday evening. He was delivering a speech there. An armed assailant opened fire on him. Our reporter is telling us that the assailant was a Turkish-speaking individual. Police are still in the process process of trying to apprehend this man. Meanwhile, Karlov has been taken to hospital. We've been told he's seriously wounded, but we don't have any immediate word on his exact condition. That's the situation at the moment in Ankara. These are the latest live pictures coming to us from the scene. Other reports of gunfire as well happening there. We are again being told, this is quite sketchy details, but we are being told that there may have been other injuries from the same shootings in that part of Ankara, and we will bring you those details as we get them.